The stock market has declined and may continue to decline. The future of cryptocurrency looks bleak. Where is the best place to put your money right now? Consider Treasury bills, otherwise known as T-bills. You can earn 4% or more, free of state or local income taxes, while also maintaining some liquidity. Treasuries are securities issued by the Department of the Treasury of the United States government as a way to borrow money and are direct obligations of the government. They are free of credit risk. In fact, treasuries are used as a measure of the current risk-free rate when pricing other securities or in calculating risk premiums. For American investors, treasuries are exempt from state and local taxes, but not federal tax. There are several types of treasuries. T-bills are treasuries that have terms not exceeding 1 year. Cash management bills are like T-bills, with terms typically ranging from a few days up to 1 year, but they are only issued when the federal government needs additional short-term financing. Treasuries also include notes, with terms ranging from 2 to 10 years, and bonds, with terms exceeding 10 years up to 30 years. Treasury notes and bonds are purchased at face value and pay interest every 6 months. Treasury inflation-protected securities, otherwise known as TIPS, and floating-rate notes are treasuries that pay a variable amount of interest. TIPS pay a fixed interest rate on a principal that is adjusted according to inflation. Floating-rate notes pay interest every 3 months based on a variable interest rate. T-bills are issued only in electronic format. As federal securities, interest is taxed by the federal government, but not by state or local governments. T-bills are discounted bonds, meaning that the interest equals the face value of the bond minus its discounted purchase price, so interest is only received when the T-bill matures. T-bill maturities range from 4 weeks to 52 weeks. These available maturities differ from time to time. For instance, the 17-week maturity was only introduced in 2022. You can buy T-bills either at TreasuryDirect or at most brokerages, but you must have an account at those institutions. T-bill prices are established by auction. All auctions are open to the public. All successive bidders get the same rate, yield, or discount margin as the highest accepted bid. There are limits to how much can be bid, but these limits are much higher than retail investors could afford. There are 2 types of bidding, non-competitive bidding and competitive bidding. Non-competitive bidding is somewhat of a misnomer and an oxymoron, since the non-competitive bidder is simply accepting the rate that was established through competitive bidding. To bid, you must use a bank, broker, or dealer, or a TreasuryDirect account at treasurydirect.gov. At the auction, Treasury first accepts all the non-competitive bids that comply with the auction rules. Then competitive bids are accepted based on their rate, yield, or discount margin, from lowest to highest, until the entire amount of the offering has been awarded. Institutional investors may bid directly for treasuries through a TAPS account. There is an auction every week for all T-bills except for the 52-week bill, which occurs only every 4 weeks. The auction is announced on Tuesday or Thursday, then the auction occurs 2 or 3 business days afterward. Then the T-bills are issued a few business days after that. The United States Treasury periodically publishes a tentative auction schedule. Each auction announcement includes securities being offered, total offering amount, auction date, issue date, maturity date, and other relevant information. You can learn about upcoming auctions by getting on a mailing list at TreasuryDirect, by checking the TreasuryDirect website, or by checking major newspapers. TreasuryDirect's webpage for auctions has much more detailed information, but also includes links to a tentative 6-month auction schedule and a schedule of reopenings, which are simply reissues of securities previously sold. Clicking on the link for upcoming auctions will give more detailed information on each security that will shortly be offered. The default tab shows the most recent auction results, including the maturities and the price per $100 of face value. Scroll down to see more securities. To see upcoming auctions, click the next tab. The Upcoming Auctions tab lists securities that will be offered, including the offering amount, announcement date, auction date, and the issue date. In the Auction Results tab, you can click on the individual securities in the Bills column to see the PDF of the U.S. Treasury announcement for that security. TreasuryDirect also provides an auction query that allows you to search by CUSIP, security type and term, auction date, issue date, and maturity date. The interest rate is fixed at auction. The interest equals the face value of the T-bill minus its discounted purchase price, and is paid when the bill matures. To see how the price and the interest rate are calculated, let's look at the detailed information for an entry in the auction results, a 4-week T-bill. Most auctions are bid using prices, but U.S. Treasury auctions use a discount percentage. So if a T-bill has a face value of $100, then submitting a bid of a 4% discount means that you are willing to pay 96% of the face value, or $96 for that T-bill. One problem with a simple formula is that the discount rate would vary widely depending on the term of the T-bill. For instance, a 4-week T-bill would have a much lower discount rate than a 52-week T-bill. Therefore, to simplify calculations, Bids are submitting using an annualized discount rate, making it easier to compare discount rates among different T-bills and other bonds with different terms. Bidders submit a bid as an annual discount yield. The annual discount is then reduced according to the term of the T-bill divided by 360. Banker's year is often used instead of 365 because, before the advent of computers, it was easier to do many bond calculations treating the year as being composed of 12 30-day months, a tradition that has persisted in spite of computers being able to easily do the calculations. This may also have been the reason for using an annualized discount yield instead of just calculating the yield that would be appropriate for the term length of the T-bill. This equation calculates the discount yield if the price is known. At each auction, the U.S. Treasury wants to sell a specific number of issues to satisfy its borrowing needs, but it also wants to get the highest price, meaning the lowest interest rate for its bonds. The discount yield is called the high rate because it is the highest discount needed to sell the entire issue, allowing the government to get the money it wants at the lowest possible price. Higher discount rates mean lower prices and vice versa. In the above example, bidders A and B would pay the winning bid of $99.70 and receive their entire request, while bidder C would get nothing. Bidders that happen to specify the exact winning bid may only get some of their request. However, the discount yield is not the same as the return of an investment. To determine that, the bond equivalent yield, or what the U.S. Treasury often calls the coupon equivalent yield, is calculated by multiplying the interest rate per term by the number of terms per year, using the actual number of days. The bond equivalent yield simplifies comparing the investment returns of T-bills of varying maturities with other investments. As you can see from these calculations, the bond equivalent yield equals the investment rate posted by the U.S. Treasury. Bond equivalent yield is the annualized yield. However, it is not compounded. It is simply annualized by multiplying the interest rate per term by the number of terms in 1 year. Compounding the rate by the number of terms in a year would slightly increase the yield. You can buy treasuries from TreasuryDirect or from brokers. The main benefit of buying from TreasuryDirect is that the minimum purchase is only $100, and the smallest increments in price are also $100. However, you can only buy newly issued treasuries, and you cannot sell the securities in the secondary market unless the securities are first transferred to a broker. Brokers require a minimum investment of $1,000, with higher purchases in increments of $1,000. You can also sell in the secondary market, but you may lose money because of the bid-ask spread, reduced liquidity, and you may lose significant money if interest rates have risen since your purchase. The main advantage of T-bills over brokered CDs is that T-bills are not subject to state or local income taxes, and you could buy up to $10 million worth of T-bills without any credit risk. Most brokered CDs are FDIC insured for up to $250,000 per account owner, per bank, and per account type. T-bills are sold at a discount to face value, while brokered CDs are sold at face value. You must have an account at TreasuryDirect to buy at TreasuryDirect. Individuals, corporations, estates, partnerships, and trusts may have a TreasuryDirect account. The issue date follows the auction date by a few days. The securities are received on the issue date in the account with the bid. However, you won't know the price until after 5 p.m. Eastern Time on auction day, although you should have a ballpark estimate based on the federal funds rate and previous sales. If you bid through your TreasuryDirect account, you can see the results of your bid after 5 p.m. Eastern Time on auction day. In your TreasuryDirect account, select Current Holdings, Pending Purchases, then Reinvestments. The price you see is for each $100 of your bid. T-bills cannot be sold before maturity in TreasuryDirect. To sell, the T-bills must be transferred to a brokerage with access to the commercial book entry system. To buy at TreasuryDirect, log into your account. Click the Buy Direct tab. Select Bills under Marketable Securities. Scroll to the bottom, then click Submit. Select the security and auction date you want. Scroll to the bottom of the page. Enter the purchase amount and source of funds. Select if you want the proceeds of the T-bill to be reinvested and specify how many times. Then select the destination for the last maturity payment. Then click Submit. Review your purchase, and if everything is okay, click Submit. Review the confirmation page. You can buy T-bills at most brokers. This screen shows some menu options for some well-known brokers. You will usually find T-bills in the sections on bonds and CDs. Brokers will give you the option to buy in the secondary market or through auctions. Your selection will be limited with either option. Securities in the secondary market change continually, but even new issues will only be available at certain times, so you may have to check back at different times to buy particular T-bills, such as a 17-week T-bill. This is a disadvantage of brokers over TreasuryDirect, since TreasuryDirect allows you to schedule your purchase of T-bills with different terms at any time. One thing you should consider before buying T-bills is how much liquidity you want to maintain. The stock market may soon reach bottom, so you may want to invest most of your money in stocks. Although you can sell your securities in the secondary market, you will probably lose some value because of the bid-ask spread and because of the limited liquidity provided by your broker for T-bills. Interest rates will also likely keep rising, at least until the first few months of 2023, which will cause a price decline for securities paying lower interest. You may want to consider setting up a bond ladder with 4-week T-bills. Spend 25% of your investment for T-bills every week for 4 weeks, set for automatic reinvestment. Then you are no more than 4 weeks away from getting all your cash back to invest in better opportunities. You can also use the T-bill ladder as an emergency fund. Although the money may not be immediately available, you can get 25% of your fund within 1 week, which is usually adequate in most cases. You can always maintain some money in a savings account for immediate access. The benefit of using T-bills as part of an emergency fund is that the interest rate is greater than for most savings accounts, and the interest is not subject to state or local taxes. Thank you very much for your time. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I would appreciate any suggestions, so please leave them in the comments below. Check out my website at thismatter.com for more than 850 in-depth fundamental tutorials in personal finance, investments, and economics. Check out my books on money at williamspalding.com. Thank you.